I have been on a fitness journey since I was 16 years old and I am now 21. I would do about everything. I would weightlift for 2 hours. I would go on runs. I would do Pilates. I would do HIIT classes. I would do the new workout classes, whatever, just trying to lose weight. And I would spend all this time in the gym. I would come home. I would think about eating some protein. I may eat like a protein bar, maybe make some grilled chicken, something like that. Then I'd pretty much just eat whatever I felt like it. To me, the diet was not my main priority. In my head, I thought, I'm working out all this, I'm going so hard in the gym. I don't really I'll think about protein after my workout, but after that, it doesn't really concern me. As you might can imagine, that did not work out for me, and I highly recommend skipping that phase if you actually want to make any progress with your body. For years, I have tried to find a way to be able to eat a high protein diet, but I've been in high school, I've been in college, like I said, I would be like, okay, I'm gonna work out, the food, it's not really my biggest concern. This recent year, I finally decided that I want to try to lose the weight. I really want to put in effort, maybe not go to the gym as much, but focus more on foods and see how that kind of works for me. And I'm here to report that that has been the best thing I have ever done. I've heard for years that losing weight is like 80% food, 20% exercise. And to me, I was like, no, that doesn't apply to me. I'm gonna keep working out and eating whatever I feel like and be good. As you can imagine, I was sluggish, I was irritable, I was bloated, I felt terrible within my body because I wasn't prioritizing healthy foods, high proteins. I would just kind of eat whatever I felt like. Let me just say, it is not as hard as people make it out to be. I feel like I put so much pressure on myself when I was first getting in my journey. I was just so lost. So if this feels like that you don't know what to eat, but you want to make the change, you want to feel better, definitely keep watching this video because I'm going to give you my best tips and tricks that I have to make eating a healthy, high protein, low calorie diet as simple as possible. I used to work from home, but recently I've started going into the office, so this was also another push for me to really get into my diet, get into my fitness, try to figure out what's working because obviously I have a job that people rely on me and my brain needs to not have so much mental fog. So for the first tip that I have is check out Pinterest for recipes. Obviously, okay, don't click out of this video because I know that's very basic information. I'm not sure who first started this idea and I absolutely love it, but on my Pinterest board, I have a folder called Emily's Meal Prep Binder. In this, I have stuff to meal prep for lunches, I have meal preps for breakfast, I have Try It Out Thursdays where I kind of do something where I wouldn't typically make throughout the week, Spaghetti Saturdays, which are high protein meals because I love to eat pasta and I would just eat pasta. I would not make any grilled chicken. The carbs would just be my main diet. I have Fun Fridays, so think like pizzas, high protein meals, hamburgers, stuff like that. You can still eat the foods you like and you can type into Pinterest, show me a healthy pizza recipe, show me a healthy hamburger recipe, and they'll show you ways to make it healthier. And this really helped me now that I'm kind of more into cooking and stuff like that. I've definitely been able to make recipes my own, kind of, oh, I know how to make this, let me make this side, But this was great for first starting out because I didn't want to eat the same foods all the time, I had a very wide food palette that I like to eat, so I always wanted to try new stuff, try new recipes, kind of see what I could cook, what I was good at, what I was not good at. And the first time that I ever made one of these meals, it turned out terrible, but I knew I wanted to do something healthy for my body, so I just kept going with it. Piece of advice is make it as easy for yourself as possible. I always try to eat vegetables. I don't really know how to cook vegetables on the skillet or anything like that, so I'll just get the canned version. It's cheaper. I'm able to have it for longer. I love fresh potatoes. I love making fresh potatoes in my air fryer, but they go bad so quickly before I need them. So I recently got into canned potatoes, which of course it's not as healthy, but it is so much easier for me. It's easier to prep them. To me, I feel like they kind of taste better. So just make it as easy for yourself as possible, and this goes into my next thing. Have easy equipment. Air fryer, crock pot. I was gifted my crock pot when I moved into this apartment, so that definitely made the change. But when I would go to work, put everything in the crock pot before I left, and then I would come home and it was already made. I didn't even have to worry about cooking. It was the easiest thing. So I highly recommend a crock pot because it is the easiest and to me the best way to make chicken. You also, if you're nervous about making chicken, obviously have a thermometer. Do it for as long as the recipe says. Like I said go to Pinterest and find great crock pot recipes. They have so many. But this was just the easiest, simplest way for me. I also knew that sometimes the recipes would call for like a lot of cheese, and I didn't want a lot of cheese in my meal because it added more calories, so I would add it after, whatever. Like I said, once you get really into it, you know how to make it your own, how to make it healthier. It is a great starting point. For the air fryer, I don't need to sell you on an air fryer, they're everywhere, but like I said before, not great with the skillet. I cook chicken in the air fryer sometimes. I have a plastic liner that I use. That way the chicken isn't getting all over and I'm able to just take that out and wash it. But there are a million great recipes for chicken in the air fryer on Pinterest, and that's kind of what gave me the idea, because I was like, I don't want to make chicken that's so hard. I don't have time for it to sit in the oven for 20 minutes. I don't have time to sit there and move it in a skillet, whereas the air fryer, I'm able to put it in there for however long, flip it. I always use the meat thermometer. If I can give one piece of advice for cooking, get a meat thermometer to make sure your meat is cooked to the perfect temperature. It's still something I'm scared about, but with the recipes and the recommendations, I've never had any issues, knock on wood. Those are my two biggest recommendations for getting to eat healthy, is just make it simple. This is probably the biggest piece of advice. Grocery shopping, this is the start of your eating healthy. If you don't get the right stuff at the grocery store, obviously you're not gonna have the tools to eat healthy. Again, this goes back to Pinterest. I scroll on recipes on Mondays. That way I can see, okay, I kind of have an idea of what I want to make. And then on my notes app here, I have a grocery list for Publix, because I usually shop at Kroger just because it's cheaper. But as you can see here, I meal prep my breakfasts. So I think, okay, what have I liked to eat for breakfast that keeps me full? I usually do some kind of egg. I like to do hash browns, but I realize that steak fries have better calories just because, you know, the breading to the hash browns adds a lot more calories. And then morning sausages, because it's not something I'd usually eat for supper or lunch. So it just gives me a different protein to eat for the day. And I like the morning. Here's the brand right here. I can't think of what it's called. And if Clay's not home, I'll eat something with my parents, so that's kind of why you see parents. But this is a great way. I will go through and I'll see what meals I need to make for the week. So if I'm going to be in office, if I'm going to be at home, I still meal prep so I can have something on hand to make, but it's a little easier to make it at home. I try to have it meal prep the night before for lunch. That way I don't even have to worry about it in the morning. It's not in my brain. I just, boom, it's done, grab it out of the fridge, put it in my lunchbox, go out for the day. But this is the biggest thing that has helped me, because that way it's not like, okay, I have to try and figure out what I want to eat because I'm going to the grocery store in an hour. No, I'm able to think about it, and sometimes I'll come back and I'll edit this list or stuff like that. So I'm very bad about, if I have something set for this day, that is when I'm eating it. Of course, you can change it around depending on what you're feeling. If that is an issue for you where you're like, oh, I meal prep and I plan, but then when the time comes, I don't want to make it, I don't want to eat that. Again, this goes back to just make it as simple as possible, because I am not going to want to come home from work and cook for an hour, then cook my lunch for an hour. I try to do leftovers a lot for lunch, so that means making the whole box of pasta rather than just the serving I needed for that night. That way I have leftovers. My next option is planning out what you want to eat and then putting it into your app, whether that's on a list, a grocery pickup, anything like that. That way you can see laid out what you need. If there's coupons, I usually wait until the weekly ad comes out for us where I live at. For Kroger or Publix, it comes out Wednesdays, I think around like lunch or something. So I wait until then to actually go into the app and see, okay, I see this ground turkey is on sale, I'm gonna get that this week. I see this milk is on sale and it's high protein, I'm gonna get that this week. That way I'm not spending $200 a week at the grocery store, because I want to eat healthy, but I also am not made of money. So I am 21 years old, like I said. I don't have a super great income. So I try to make it as cheap as possible. Like I said, having leftovers also saves a lot of money. If I see something's on sale that I possibly could need next week, like butter, for example, was on sale last week. We didn't need it this week. We probably won't need it next week, but it doesn't go on sale for a little bit. So I was like, let me just go ahead and grab that, get the cost out of the way. That way I don't have to worry about it when it is on sale. But this is not a grocery prepping video, but I could definitely do one because I absolutely love the grocery store. Now that I know what I want to eat, it has made it so much easier. One thing that always set me back in my fitness journey, especially in college, I did not have time to cook. Like I said, I would not make it simple. I'd be like, oh my gosh, like mac and cheese would literally take me an hour to make for some reason. And then that's all I would have is just mac and cheese. Again, no protein. just the mac and cheese, and then I would be like, well, you know, at least I'm not going through a drive-through, when that box of mac and cheese is a lot more calories than probably what a drive-through would have been. I would pick up like to-go sandwiches, and then I would, oh, well, I want a sweet treat, let me get a donut. And don't get me wrong, I definitely still have sweet treats. I just try to make better choices, and I try to have a smaller portion. Again, do not restrict yourself from anything. Eat whatever makes your body feel best. But for me, I know I have fitness goals. I know that that sweet is going to hurt my stomach later. It's going to make me feel bad. It's going to affect my skin. So I really try to make a conscious choice before reaching for something that is potentially going to be bad. But don't get it wrong, I still have a donut every once in a while because that is my favorite food. Another thing that would set me back is I had the McDonald's app, and I used to use those deals like it was no one's business. They would always have the free large fry if you get a large Coke. Okay, I want a large Coke, I want a fry. I would eat fries about 3 times a week. I know that sounds crazy, but I would not make it simple with cooking, and I would just be like, okay, well, McDonald's is right there by my college. Let me just swing by, boom, easy. And I would not feel full after I ate that. Like, I would literally have a 10-count nugget, a large fry, a large Coke, and I would not feel full. And I'd be like, I just don't get it. Whereas having these high protein meals, I'm able to stay fuller longer, and I feel so much better. I have so much more energy. There's less brain fog. If you're someone who does love fast food, and don't get me wrong, there are times when I'm like, let's just go out to eat, you know, I'm not really feeling it. There are a million healthy alternatives at fast foods, which again, you can find on Instagram, you can find on Pinterest, you can find on anything like that. I like to look at these before I go, and again, if you just keep in mind like, okay, I want to prioritize protein for my meals, you know, instead of getting a fry, I may get a mac and cheese, which doesn't have the best as opposed to eating at home, but I'm still prioritizing, and I'm not getting the large fry normally like I would used to, which is just calories, and it makes me feel sluggish, and it makes me feel bad about myself after I eat it. And again, this is just my experience. If you want the fry, do not feel bad about yourself. Go for what you want, but I'm just saying from my experience, whenever I would have fries, I would just feel so sad about myself because I'm like, okay, I'm letting myself down in this sense because I said this week I was gonna prioritize eating healthy, and then my friends would ask to go to Chick-fil-A or McDonald's, and I'd be like, well, let me get a large fry, I'm here, I deserve it. Meal prepping has definitely gotten easier now that I know what I like to eat, what holds up well when I'm going to pack it for lunch, stuff like that. And one simple way, if I don't know what I want to eat, that I will go about it is, okay, I want to have one protein. For example, let's just say chicken. I want to have something that will keep me full. Okay, do I want rice, pasta, salad? Okay, I know I want to have 2 vegetables. Do I want to have corn and black beans? Do I want to have broccoli and green beans? Something like that. I feel like this formula, again, this just goes back to keep it as simple as possible. You're not going to want to stick with something that is hard and takes up so much of your mental capacity because life is hard enough as it is. I totally get that. But if you go, I use this photo as reference sometimes, not always, but reference back to that, and it really took me a while. I was the pickiest eater. I would not eat green beans, I would not eat potatoes, I would not eat broccoli, I would not eat anything. It was so hard for me to expand my palate because I did not want to eat vegetables. I would rather just have a side of fries and call it a day. Whereas now that I'm prioritizing these vegetables, it's definitely getting more. I'm eating way more, but it's actually of good stuff, so I'm staying fuller longer. I feel better about myself. Like, it's better quality. And don't get it wrong, sometimes I do take steak fries for lunch, but I'll also pack like edamame. That's one of my favorite things recently that I've gotten into. Or with it, I'll pack like corn, just something that way I still have a vegetable and I'm still prioritizing that. Like I said before, I really got into canned vegetables just because it's easier. I can keep them in my fridge, I can buy them in bulk, stuff like that. That's low effort. You can make them so many different ways. I may put them in the air fryer, I may do the microwave, I may do them on the skillet, something like that. And also I recommend using different seasonings for them because again, it will just taste like a different experience. But now that I've gotten more into cooking and I have had more foods, I just think having something simple, having it repeat on week, if I know I like it, then I try to have it multiple times a week. Just that way it's just going through the rotations and making everything. Another great idea for if you're not sure where to start with meal prepping is typing into ChatGPT. I know it's so bad, but this is not a forever solution. Just typing into there, okay, I want a high protein, low carb diet. I want to have a different breakfast every day. I want to have a different lunch. but you can repeat some lunches with leftover suppers, anything like that. That way it will give you everything that you want to eat. You can go through and be like, no, I don't like zucchini, replace that. I don't like shrimp, replace that. And that is a great way to start. Again, do not use ChatGPT if you don't have to, but when it comes to your health, I definitely think it is worth it to at least try, and you can always just use it once, see what it recommends, and then just swap out stuff week by week and just kind of say, okay, so this is what like a structured high protein meal plan would look like. My last piece of advice is, even if you are not working out that day, if you're following a 3-day strength training structure, in my head I'd be like, okay, today's a rest day, I'm not gonna eat protein, I'm not gonna prioritize it because I didn't work out today. Whereas protein is just as important on rest days. I'll also use it if I'll always eat protein after I go on a walk too, because you're still working out, you're still building muscle, stuff like that. So I always try to aim to eat 30 to 40 grams of protein per meal, but that is for my body percentage. It varies on different people, so definitely consult a doctor, look into it before you try to make a decision for yourself. But a easy way to get protein for me is to say, okay, for breakfast I want to eat 30 grams, for lunch I want to have 40, for supper I want to have 40, I'm gonna have a sweet treat, I'm gonna make like a Ninja creamy protein, which again you can also find on Instagram or Pinterest. Not have to go through finding recipes and try to make stuff up in your head. There's so much free stuff out there that you can utilize that I highly recommend utilizing, because people are just so creative and great. So shout out to you if you make recipe internet videos. I appreciate you so much, thank you. Kind of setting a structure for when you want to have protein, how much you want to have, just sets yourself a goal and you're able to achieve it and work towards it, and before you know it, a month, 2 months will be into it. It's just your routine and you are able to utilize protein. Trigger warning, we are going to be talking about counting calories and journaling what you eat, so if that is a trigger for you, please skip to this here in the video, but just wanted to give that heads up. For me, I don't really track or count calories, anything like that. Like I said, I just try to utilize protein. I don't restrict myself of anything. You know, we only have one body, we only have one life. I want to feel it properly, but I also want to enjoy a sweet treat from time to time. I have used apps, but I found the easiest thing for me is writing it down on a notebook. I'll have a picture of my notebook right here. I'll put like what I eat, what I slept that night, what my step count was, just so I can have a place where I can look at all of it. And then I will not put it into the app automatically. Like I tried to do the whole put your plate in the sink and then write down what you ate on that plate, anything like that. No, I would not do it. But doing it in a notebook for me was something that seemed more achievable, because I'm like, okay, I don't want to sit there and look on the app like, oh, I use this brand of eggs and I don't really know how much I used of it. Whereas when I'm able to write it down, I'm able to look at it and say, okay, well, now I can put that into the app because I'm looking at it. I'm not just trying to think of it off my head. It just kind of becomes a rinse and repeat. I also have 2 ways where I'm able to track, and sometimes I just don't feel like putting it into the app for the day, but I'm still able to look back and say, okay, well, like for breakfast, for example, I have the same amount of eggs, I have the same sausage, so I know that this was this many protein since I tracked it that first day, which again goes back to just making it as easy as possible. You rinse and repeat and you know what works, you know what has high protein. Thank you guys so much for watching this video. I hope I was able to help. I wanted to make this video for that girl out there that was like me and was just so confused, did not know where to start, didn't know what to do, how to meal prep, anything like that. I think a video like this really would have helped me during my college years, because I just spent so much of my teens just absolutely hating my body, wishing I could change it, whereas now I see it as food is a way to fuel your body. You're able to move. I would not eat before my workouts. I can't imagine doing that now. Like, to me, that's not extra calories, that's protein and fuel to move my body. So I don't want this video to trigger anyone. I don't want it to make you feel bad about yourself, because for so many years I was in that position where I would watch stuff and I'd be like, that just seems impossible for me. Whereas now looking at it, I'm like, okay, you make it simple and you stick with it. So yeah, I just hope you guys enjoyed this video, and thank you so much for watching. I'm definitely in my fitness girl era, so I can't wait to share more of that. Whereas I felt like my college videos were just kind of, I was stuck in a rut, I was stuck in a bad place. College was just not the best time for me those last few months, but I'm definitely in a better place now, because I'm able to fuel my body, work on myself, and just feel good. So I want to share that with you guys. So thank you so much for watching. Please like, comment, and subscribe, and stay tuned for the next video. Bye guys.